Sequoia, eat your snack. All right, it's probably going. Cool, we're going. So here we are, high-low redesign. All right, eat your snack. Integration session. All right, it's probably going. Cool, we're going.
All right, you gotta.
Great. So here we are, high-low redesign. Back to where we were. Over here. Okay, so I was just recapping what we had landed on last time. We were talking about the evolutionary and customizable sidebar that stewards can customize to have what elements they actually want to have, and that would include chat rooms that they've created. It would include any subgroups they want to highlight, custom links, and then it can also have the native high-low content categories like decisions, events, projects. Cool. So then other possible things we could talk about today to round out this section, because I feel like it'd be good for like this section to be satisfied, and then we can move on from there, hopefully. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff I want to talk about, but we could address, I think there's more to address with subgroups. We could talk about peer-to-peer groups. We could talk about group passport, which Tibet just brought up. Tibet, does that sound like a good direction to go?
Sure, yeah.
Or is there something more? Something else you would like to talk about?
No, let's talk about subgroups. I think that's a good one to try and nail.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how much time we have, we could get into notifications or we could get into onboarding or discovery, but let's.
Oh yeah, notifications. I mean, that's exciting.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna join the audio on my computer.
Okay.
Maybe one question we didn't fully answer. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. About the sidebar is this idea of if like the first time someone creates a proposal showing, do we like immediately start showing the decisions area and then let stewards remove it if they want? Or do we, like you said, Claire, just suggest maybe you want to show the decisions now?
Yeah, I think it's cooler to automatically do it. Because then we're reducing the cognitive load for the stewards, but then there's a section in the admin panel where they can be editing it if they want to.
Mhm.
And maybe it's even in the admin panel. Maybe you can just
Or like it's just like right
Edit it.
there. Yeah.
edit the sidebar.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you're an admin or coordinator, you can see a little plus sign that other people can't see that you can click, and it's like to create a custom view or add a view. One of those views could be a custom view.
But you like them appearing initially when they're first useful and then.
I mean, the other way I could see it is that when the next time the coordinator looks at that place, there's a ghost version of that menu option along with a button that's like add this to the groups Because even though it may be helpful to do it automatically, there's some subset of people who will no matter what we do, if we do something automatically, we'll be annoyed by it. And at least at first, right when it happens, it's in the main view of the main chat. So it is the most important thing for just at least until people talk for a little bit more. It's like the only thing to see for a little while when it's the first of something.
This would be a good question for the community.
Yeah.
Like if we show it automatically, it's more likely to be used and noticed, but it may be annoy some people. If we tell the steward, hey, someone created a proposal, maybe you want to add this, then it's some stewards will notice that and do something about it. Some of them maybe will not notice it or ignore the notification, and then maybe that group will be less functional or less, like for example, the calendar, that one seems pretty important to show if there's events. Or even if there's anything that's like time-based could appear on the calendar.
That's cool. I love that. Heck yeah.
So like, is that one that we want to always show?
I mean, we just have to pick a.
I think it should be a default to show it when there's anything with time. But we could allow it to be something that people can turn off. Stewards can turn off if they want to.
So the experience of that is that and we should stop calling it a sidebar because that is a desktop specific. We should come up with a name for it, which is like the group navigation.
Group nav.
The group navigation will become more complex over time and start filling up with stuff. And if I want to change that, I go into the settings or I click the edit button if I'm a coordinator and just edit the menu in place. That's not bad. That's kind of in line with what we've been talking about the evolution of the interface and the evolution of groups.
Yep.
And I think it would like help people to understand because it's changing. It's not all changing at once and it's very simple at first. You get to learn what the new sections are as they appear because they're new.
Yeah, totally.
And we can even have like a little new tag, a little sparkle tag. Like, hey, look here.
Totally.
There's projects now.
I like that. Cool. Okay, let's talk about subgroups for a bit. So, I mean, the easiest thing is just to kind of stick with what we currently have, but make them easier to like find and navigate. Like we've talked about adding them you can add some of them to the sidebar if you want, making it easier to find them potentially in the like group nav. What's the word? So if we have the group navigation, then what's the word for the overall navigation drawer?
Yeah. World navigation.
Global nav.
Network navigation. Or because network navigation is kind of like the group's tab inside a group.
Yeah. It could just be the like navigation drawer.
Yeah.
And the group navigation.
Sure.
Yeah.
yeah, showing subgroups there when you like hover over or click on a group potentially. And maybe that's enough, but so okay, so there's that question. But then there's this question of like subgroups that like Jeff brought up where the URL slug is a global domain, and what if he wants to use the same name but contained within the parent? Or what if, yeah, I mean, we have this idea of like joining multiple groups at the same time, and it's like the way we currently do that is with prerequisite groups that you have to join first, but we're going to like change it so that if you get invited to a group that has prerequisite groups, you join all of them together. But that's like joining a subgroup, automatically joining you to the parent group. Is there also a way that like joining a parent group could automatically join you to some child groups?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about the group passport idea, which has been around for a while. And like, I think it's a nice idea. I don't know how urgent it is or how high priority it is. Like, I think there's a few groups that it would be really great for, and then most groups it's not that relevant. So I like the idea. It just doesn't feel high priority to me.
Well, but even more, whether we think of it as a passport or not, like there's definitely times when you want to create a subgroup that doesn't need a new image, doesn't need a new purpose or agreements. It's just like the same as the parent. It's just a subgroup contained within the parent that has that inherits all those things.
Yeah.
Um, do we want to make that easier somehow? And what is that? Or how is that different from a chat room? Or maybe we just say create a chat room for that case or something.
Well, to me, the difference is what's different about groups is two things. One is the difference in the people. And the second is the difference in the data. So like what has been shared and talked about.
Yeah.
And so it does make sense to me that, for instance, a subgroup like the product team might want a group inside of built the general circle team so that we can have just sharing all of our Figma links and random links to design things without it cluttering up the things that the general circle wants to talk about, but having an open door towards anyone who wants to come in and participate. Anyone in the organization, I would think, would be welcome in that circle.
Right, that's like an open and what is it? Open and protected.
Yeah. But it's not necessarily everyone joining it. It would be more like when we're onboarding someone, I would want to say, join this group, and this group. Because if the data is the same and the group is the same, it's the same thing. So they may as well be in the same group. So what are subgroups for in this case that you're pointing to?
Right. Like, what's the user story around this?
I mean, it could be a committee, it could be like location-based group. It could be anything that could be a subgroup.
And the main thing is just that it doesn't stand alone. It's not a standalone group.
Yeah, there's like never a case where you would want to like break it out.
That seems more like a chat room or something, like a room inside of the building.
Yeah.
Whereas you need your own building if you need your own data and map and your own idea space, basically. or yeah. At least in the architecture that we're talking about right now, it would be a chat room. Under Hilo's current architecture, it would be a group that has anyone in the parent group can join.
Yeah, I mean, we may not need to change anything. I think maybe what we have right now is good enough. Just making it easier to find them. Um, I mean, maybe the like main issue that we've actually been that's come to our attention is this one about the URL slugs. If you like try and create a subgroup for like food, and so you just call it food, and then it's like you can't use this URL, somebody else has it. Um, maybe that's just the issue. And maybe the simple solution is we add the ID of groups. So it's like food dash group ID. But then you don't have simple URLs that you can tell people. You have to like send them the link, which is maybe fine. Um,
Well, we should. Yeah. Setting up a navigation pattern that allows people to navigate to a group and have its parent group as part of the URL is different than we can do that. We can just generate URLs that would work pretty trivially.
right. I mean, it could be like if this already exists, then just add a -2 or a -3 or
Right. But I think that we would need to know the story, or at least a deeper reason than just one person, because it's like, okay, why do you need that? To show in the URL, so to show in a printed material or to share online that there's some relationship between two things.
well, no, in this case, it's really just an annoying user experience, at the very least. The simplest aspect of it is like you just want to call the group something like Asia. And then
Right.
it's like, oh, this slug has already been used. And so then that might make people think they have to change the name of the group. Or
Yeah.
so the easiest thing, like I said, would be to just automatically in the background add a like -2 or dash or add the
Yeah.
ID to the code.
Yeah. What a lot of services do is they just recommend a few different variations. It's like, and you select whether it's -1 or some scrambling of characters.
Yeah.
Something like that would also work. And that would just solve the issue without changing the architecture of groups to accommodate that one person. Not
Yeah.
that that story is not other, I'm sure other people are experiencing it. It's just doesn't seem like.
Yeah. Another little thing we could do is like right now, if you create a group while you're inside of a group, it automatically puts the current group as the parent. And if you're doing that, we could automatically populate the agreements as the parent group agreements. Um, and potentially even automatically populate the initial image as the parent group image in case they don't want to have to like think about, oh, I need to create a new image for this subgroup. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I mean, this to me goes under like onboarding. How do we make that easier? Because that issue in general, like there's ways we could make all that easier and simpler and faster. Um, including AI image generation.
No, I was just thinking about that. The problem is that it isn't necessarily good.
Well, I mean, it's just the imagery is like visual cueing and helping people to like remember where they are.
Mhm.
And for a lot of people, what they need is like a color or a pattern, or they don't need some, evocative image that's telling a story.
Yeah.
And we can provide those more kind of textural images easily and have the default be the initials of the group on a beautiful background that has a palette right below it, which you can pick really quickly, like a different color or texture
Yeah.
and yeah, there's things we can do. Yeah, but I don't know if we're ready to talk about onboarding.
Maybe we are. Maybe should we shift there? Because we're kind of talking about the
Yeah, I would love to.
group creation process.
Onboarding. Cool. So I'm down in the onboarding section. We have some hypotheses here about joining Hilo as a member, joining a group, improving the UX of group creation will make it easier for group stewards to succeed.
I just
All
put
right.
this on the images there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where should we jump in? We could stay on the group creation.
Yeah.
Just talking about that.
Yeah, well, one of the things we talked about for group creation is getting information about like what is the stage of the group? Is it just starting? Is it migrating? Do you already have people? Do you not? And then like presenting some kind of different experience depending on those things. So that's something we could talk about. Aaron has a hand up. Go ahead.
Well, I wonder if we can step back even further and just start with the individual. Let's say somebody who, like the group creator, starting by signing up. Like, what is that experience of onboarding all the way through to creating a group?
I see.
And maybe that's too big of a story to bite off, but
it's like an epic.
but just jumping right into like group creation, it just feels like there's simpler things we could try to focus on first, which is like what is it even like to sign up?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I only jumped down here because that's what we were just talking about, but I'm happy to start at the start.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think?
Either way, it's all needs to be discussed.
It does.
If it feels easier to like conceive of starting with the sign up flow, that's fine.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so the first hypothesis here is making it super simple to join Hilo will dramatically increase growth.
Hi, cutie.
And we actually only have one thing here, which is implement phone number based sign up and login.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff happens once you're more fully in. But yeah, I mean, what else would we think would go here?
Well, I guess we could think about the different types of people who are signing up. Like we just talked about one, which was like somebody who comes to the website, sees it's like, oh, I could bring my group here. I'm gonna create a group. That's one persona. Then another is like somebody coming to join a group. They've never signed up for Hilo. A third persona would be somebody signing up because the website says they can find community. and create community with purpose.
Mhm.
So they're trying to find the others, find a group or connect with people.
Mhm.
And maybe even others, like people who are going to attend an event and they want to make a reply to the event.
Mhm.
And so just thinking through these different types of flows and what are the common themes
Mhm.
would kind of suss out the main story.
Mhm.
But each of those need attention in a way that we haven't been able to give them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe we could start with the group creator, since that was the place that came up. So the person has come to the website and they've seen that they can supercharge their group. I can't remember the words we used, but
Mhm.
when in the sign up flow do we identify them as that person rather than some other person?
And also there's a sub persona here. It's like, does this group already exist somewhere else, or are they
Right. Are they
starting
migrating
from scratch?
or starting from scratch? Yeah. So what do we need to know about somebody in order to give them the keys to a group? We need their phone number, email address, a picture.
Well, phone number, I would say phone number or email address. Like we want to add phone number based login. I don't think we need both phone and email in the initial. I mean, we do want the email for notifications.
So we'll ask for it. We need to know their notification settings. Maybe that's something you set up when you're first signing up.
That seems more like once you're in, it's like one of the next steps if you want to change your
Okay.
default notification settings.
Yeah, okay. So really, we just collect a little bit of basic data.
Here, I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna sign up for an account together.
Thank you. Look at this beautiful
Sign up.
website.
It's amazing.
Good job.
Broken Google button.
I feel like I fixed that, but maybe I didn't push it.
Boarding. Yeah, maybe not. That'll be, well, can someone take a note of this since I am driving?
Yes. Just boot up localhost right now. All
I
right.
think it would be good to be able to take notes on this in the redesign doc is probably a good spot.
Yeah. Just looking for the tab.
Too many tabs.
I did it.
Okay, Tibet's
We're
good.
in onboarding. Cool. Okay, thanks, Tibet. Oh, now I have to go get my code. Okay. Meow, meow, meow. Did I get a code? This should work for me to get a code, right? Because I did my email address plus something. Oh yeah, okay. I just got my code. 462638.
Careful, you better do it quick.
Did I do this right?
No.
638.
I can't remember.
462638.
4623.
No, 638.
638. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's good. I made it this far. Okay, one more step. Claire, that's not my name. Claire onboarding is my name.
Onboarder.
On Frodor. Is that even 9 characters? Apparently. Okay, and then we have this stuff. Jump in. Okay, but it's not the last step because now it's like actually make an icon.
Sure,
And
it's
like
a little
this might
confusing.
be the place. This might not be the place where we need people to put in their photos, to be honest.
Maybe it's only when they try to do something.
Can someone please take notes on every single step that's happening here? Like it first I put in my email address, then it made me do whatever the last thing was.
What if you just note what the current flow is?
Yeah, like because it said like one last step. And I put in my name. And then it opened this up and it's like a whole new flow and it says step 1 of 3. That's like kind of, that's not good setting expectations,
No,
right?
that is terrible setting of expectations.
Because I just got excited that I was almost done and now I'm not almost done. Okay, so yeah, now I'm in this thing where it's like, upload your profile image. I'm not going to do that. Where are you from? Isla wants to know your location. Allow. Oh, but I can't because my settings don't let that happen. Shingle Springs. Cool. All right, that works nicely.
Ooh, pretty.
This is great. I wish I had just landed on this.
Right. Okay. So what about this? Like,
Public stream. So all of this could be reimagined to be like more clear. Create a group, create your profile. Oh yeah, go ahead. What about this?
well, I just think
This should go to the group explorer.
ooh,
Find where you belong. It should have the stuff from the website.
yeah, totally.
There's just
Yeah.
not that much in the group explorer right now, so
I don't know, there's plenty of stuff in there.
Well, I think that if we show the some groups,
Yeah, or we could have some suggested groups.
some suggested groups.
Like the Hilo Network. Join the Hilo Network.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, right. We've talked about automatically adding everyone to the Hilo network, which I think
Yes.
is a cool idea.
Yes.
And I honestly think we should be putting people in regional groups.
Yeah, that could be one of the
Yeah,
suggested
Yeah, exactly.
groups.
Once we
Exactly.
have regional groups to do that with real
Yeah,
students.
I would put that in the bioregional technology
Yeah,
category,
okay,
which we're gonna get to.
Okay.
But yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think reimagining this is really ripe. Yes, thank you, Tibet.
And I do think we don't need their picture
I don't think we need their picture at that point.
or their location until they try to say something or join a group or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and my comment on that is agree, we don't need it at this time. But what would be cool is like the next time they log in, we have a popover that's like, hey, we want to get to know you better. Where do you live? Give us a cute photo.
Right. What are some of your skills and interests?
Yeah, and we're
Could be
just
the
like
third login.
right, and we're just like not trying to do it all at once
Right.
because that is a really intense experience. One thing that we might need to add though is the agreements and having people agree to the agreements.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's before we take any information, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say
I'm not sure I agree that we shouldn't get their image at the beginning. It feels like that's such a core necessary thing. Location, I feel fine about pushing that to like completing your profile. But image seems pretty important.
Well, I guess
I don't
we'll
think
just
it's
have to keep
important
talking
until
about
they
it.
do something.
But then what do we do? Like pop up a thing that's like, you need to add an avatar image.
It doesn't say you need to. It could say, people will get to know you better if you have a photo.
Yeah.
Upload your photo now or dismiss. And then the next time they log in, they get another reminder saying, hey, you still don't have a photo. Dismiss.
Yeah, exactly. And if they dismiss it like 3 times, then we stop telling them.
Right. Whereas right now, we dismiss it once and it never happens again.
Fine. Eat your snacks. Did you eat your cookie? You want to sit with me?
He's thirsty.
Oh, you're thirsty. Oh, you have to use your words.
He doesn't want to be live streams.
Mhm.
Here's a thirsty little dinosaur climbing just off screen.
Thirsty dino.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, to that, I totally agree. We want people's photos, but like, just in terms of making this experience is so critical. This is like the critical moment. And this is the part that everyone hates and is like, I don't want to sign up for a new thing. It's because like they know it's going to be a thing. So like, how can we
Make that wonderful.
make it so exactly be so smooth and wonderful and easy?
We need like a lot of confetti.
Positive reinforcement.
I think the reason we have location is because we want this to become a regional platform. And so knowing someone's location at the beginning gives us the ability to like add them to or show them regional groups. We're not really utilizing that fully now, but
right.
I mean, yeah, we can play with this stuff. I think my hypothesis is that this is not one of the big issues in Hilo right now, that retention is a much bigger issue than getting people into the platform. But that's just my.
But why do you think that?
But I just think that's just my guess. I don't have a ton of data to back it up.
It's not easy to have mixed panel data about that because if people aren't getting through the sign up, then
Well,
they're
we
not.
can see where they drop off. And I think if we're not tracking each step, then we should be.
Okay, but I just had a brainwave, right? All right, I'm fine with asking for location still if we nix the profile image. And here's what we can do. We can act on their location immediately if they give it, because instead of view the public map, we can say see groups near me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can just change. So all of these things can just be changed, exactly. See group near me. Maybe public stream. I would say like find where you belong, explore groups. I wouldn't even put create a group here because like I personally am skeptical of the idea that people are ready to dive into this platform and then create a group immediately. But it could be wrong.
What about the people who what they're coming for?
Yeah.
Like they just
Yeah.
saw the website and appealed to them and they want to try the service.
Or they're like, oh, Hilo, I'll check it out and try to make it. Okay, fine. I'm
convinced people want to sign up for a platform.
I'm convinced. Yeah.
Well, I can't see my room.
Oh, let me help you with that.
Or better yet, they could just be on the map at first.
Yeah.
And the other options are right there inside, or they're in the stream and the other options are right there.
Right. You need to go pee-pee?
Or it's a whole page that is like its own explore page, like you were saying, Claire.
Wow.
Yeah.
My Celia episode. All right, I'll sit here for a sec with you. Put your feet forward.
So you go to create a group here. Really, all you should do to create a group, all you need to do is put a name in. We should figure out the slug for you, and we should figure out the image and the background image, and let you change them if you want. And like then you have a group. And then the very next screen is like you're in the group, and the first thing you see in there is invite people. And it
Yeah.
doesn't lead you through the rest of the steps until you get enough people or something. Or after like 10 people join, it's like, wow, a lot of people have joined this group. Maybe you should set up your agreements now.
Yeah, but we usually tell people to try to have that stuff set up before you start inviting people.
Yeah, I mean, we could just be like, are you sure you want to create a group right now? Have you really thought about this?
I mean, it is optional, right? It's not like they have to do that stuff.
Well, this is a really good point, is like when you go to create a group, it's like, yeah, all you need to do is enter a name, but right there, it's like, it should be like, here's our stewardship course. Here's everything you need to know. Everything, here's our blog post, everything we wish we knew before we started this group.
Yeah.
Top 25 mistakes that every steward makes.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is one of the biggest wins probably is being able to invite people during the creation process, or like write.
Oh yeah. Literally right after you enter the name. I think that's the next step.
Yeah.
Because all of the other stuff, if we put it as a default, it makes assumptions about what the group is for, what they're trying to do. When really we should be if we're adopting this evolutionary mindset, we should be looking for the signals that the group is ready for that feature and offering it. So the onboarding process really never ends in some sense. It's like as soon as your group seems evolutionarily or at a capacity level ready for the agreements or ready to assign, you need more moderators. Like you should be assigning roles. You need some help.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, having a little it's almost like little AI helper wizard that's just always popping up, being like offering suggestions for the next things to do, which was
yeah.
in the new
Yeah.
public. It's one of the new public things, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Do we think in the process of like invite people during the group creation process, that's where we should have a button or an option to sync with your device contacts?
Yeah.
And type people's names and have it like bring up their email and or phone number?
Yeah. I think it should be during the group creation wizard, and I think that should be available just in the invite people panel.
Also, I think it'd be dope to be able to invite by email or phone number.
Yeah, totally.
What if we sync their contacts and people have them stored here and they can still at that person even if they're not on the platform? And what that would do is when they at that person, it's sort of like, oh, this person's not on high-low yet. Send them an invitation to this group. Or
I wonder if we can do this on the web, though. This might require it being in the desktop or mobile app.
well, like once you get the contacts, we can display them in whatever format we choose that's useful to the people. I'm just thinking about that moment where you go to invite somebody to the group and it's like where what I expect is to be able to like find somebody that I've already been in a group with and just add them or add their email address, and if they're already in the system that it finds them. But it doesn't quite work that way. And I just think that's a pleasant experience. Like if I'm connected to you somehow, the system should be keeping track of that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Because I think ideally, if the person's already on Hilo, then it should kind of invite them through Hilo, which uses their Hilo notification settings.
Right.
If they're not on Hilo, then you should be able to invite via email or phone number, I think. Although I don't know if that's confusing to have to like choose between them.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, I
But-
think it should be agnostic. I
Yeah.
mean, I should be able to add my email address to my account, even if I signed up with a phone number. And if I'm logged in and I accept an invitation to an email address, it should just reconcile that, you know? I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be
Okay.
right back.
Um, we had these ideas about specifying group vibe and size.
Yeah, but I guess I'm curious, like, how would we act on that information?
Yeah. I mean, there's also the idea of templates,
Yeah,
like farm, I think, project, but um,
well, I think with some of the like evolutionary features we're discussing, we might not need them to even tell us
right.
what
We should
stage
be
the
able to-
group is in.
yeah.
We could just like create something simple at first that can grow if the group needs it.
Yeah.
And then then it's one less thing we're asking the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking about how previously we'd discussed asking about the group size or stage, but it seems like we should just be able to figure that out based on number of people and activity, and then it's one less thing to ask them.
Yeah.
And then same with like vibe, might be an
Yeah.
unnecessary thing to ask, but we still might want group templates that could like customize a bunch of the defaults, especially around like the views and the sidebar. I don't think we need this right now, but this is kind of a
Yeah,
few.
it doesn't feel high prio.
Yeah.
Mm. What about letting people upload like an email list So send out emails. I feel like that'd be really good for people that are migrating through.
Mhm.
I
That
don't
might be
know.
a separate flow. It's like there could be a little button that's like migrate this group from somewhere. I mean, I don't know if I forget if Mighty Networks, they have like some, you can export something. You might be able to export the member list. And so we could have a like import button that's like import a CSV from, and we could support Mighty Networks format or just a general CSV format.
I mean, the end of the input field where you invite people could be just a plus button. It could be pops up a modal, which is like import a CSV or drag and drop right here, import from Mighty, import from blah blah blah. If we really have those options.
Yeah, which we probably don't have those, but we probably do have upload a CSV. People have asked about being able to upload a list, but not very often.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about, because you can always just share the link with your list. So that's really easy. Yeah, I would say that's just a nice to have and maybe not critical.
Yeah. Well, I think we definitely have more than enough here for next iteration of all this stuff. We could talk about the joining a group process and the sort of onboarding
Yeah,
wizard for that.
yeah, let's talk about that. So the click tour that shows up when you first join high-low if you're not going straight to a group. But otherwise, if you're going to a group, it shows it in the group. Is that right?
Yeah, wherever you go first, it appears.
Okay. So we can audit that and just see like if it feels like it's up to date. There will probably be changes that need to be made based on how we're changing the overall experience.
The click tour is just basic. We really need to be thinking about the person's sort of long-term learning journey of pilot.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay, well, I didn't need to brush us.
Okay, well, I can read the whole thing.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, that's just one item out of many. Okay, so click tour. One thing people have asked for is to be able to play it again. So that could be in like the help drop down. Maybe something simple. Okay, then we've talked about an onboarding wizard in the group that can provide more guidance for group members. And already when you join the group, there's the purpose. If they have one, there's agreements. And then some groups have skills that they present that you can click on if you have them. But other things that could show up either when you're first joining or at your second appearance or your third appearance or whatever, it could say like, hey, make sure to set up your profile because of X, Y, and Z, or it's time to add a post, do a resource post and introduce yourself, you know? whatever is important for that group. And we could have 3 things as a default, and then that could be something that the stewards could edit as well.
Mhm. Yep.
And we talked about having group specific profile fields. That could include people's answers to their joint questions or other things.
Yeah. I think that would be very well appreciated. Yeah, maybe this is good enough. Maybe we got it all here.
Because I think just having that would really support conversion. Like getting from like the number of people that are joining a group and then the number of people that are making their first post in the first 30 days. Like usually in all the groups I've looked at, that number is really low. Because no one, like even if you tell people that in a Zoom call, it's not necessarily gonna like register versus having that pop up when they're in the group.
Yeah.
It is there are defaults and the community is further than students.
Feel good about all this.
Mhm.
Another thing is giving. So there's like the experience of onboarding into a new group for the person joining the group. Then there's the other people that may be involved in welcoming that person or engaging with them at first. People with certain responsibilities or roles may need to receive a notification at this point that somebody has joined the group or so-and-so has joined the group.
Yes, so we have, this is in the invitation section, but we have that there should be a notification to group stewards when
Okay.
someone joins a group. And that there should be a notice in the group stream/chat when a new member joins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely group stewards should get that notice, or maybe it's a role or whatever. But it's like, so-and-so has joined, make sure to welcome them. And it could even have a button to like send a DM. And it could even fill out the DM and it could be like, hey, so-and-so, welcome.
Yeah. And the DM is sort of like me coming over to you and shaking your hand one-on-one, as opposed to you walking into the room and everyone saying, hi, Claire.
Right.
And I'm curious about that, like what sort of welcome? I really like the DM one. And if we put a notice in the stream with like a little confetti emoji.
Yeah.
So joined.
Yeah. Definitely want to do that.
That's more of like you're entering the room.
Yeah.
You got a pickle?
And what do we tell the stewards when the person joins? So we send a notification, but what are we beyond what is happening? Are we inviting them to do something or prompting them to engage in a specific way?
The stewards?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're prompting them to welcome the person.
click here for top
Mhm.
10 tips on how to make somebody feel right at home.
Yeah, maybe. Well, one thing that we didn't quite touch on with the group creation, but that is on here, is that we could have a stewardship checklist in the group settings. That's something that the stewards can look at any time. That can have like the top 10 things that we want to put, like when new people join, make sure to give them a personal welcome. You know, do events sometimes and put them on the calendar. You know, whatever, like just like that can just be in there so that if you're ever a steward and you're like, I don't know what to do, you can look at that for inspiration. And those things could even have like here to create your first event, like here to send a welcome message.
Yep.
Like
Exactly.
they can be like preloaded too.
Smart. Yeah, it's like smart advice that is actionable immediately.
Yeah.
And it's timely, like when you need it. It's not like annoying, clippy.
Yeah,
Vibes.
right. I mean, it could even be really cool stuff like reach out to members of your group and like for one-on-one conversations. And then it could be like, click here to send a message to the most active member of your group. Click here to send a message to the least active member of your group.
Yeah.
And like, how cool would it be to have that all just queued up?
Totally. This is
Like-
100% what will make Hilo sing.
Yeah.
Is touches like this. These are the moments where sort of like the difficulty of stewardship is not knowing what to do at these
Right.
moments.
Yeah.
And so you don't do anything, or you just make a post about some news article instead of engaging, creating intimacy, moments of connection, the serendipity. And we can help people learn those skills. And it makes me think that all of these tips are a great way to help people to know about the curriculum to become a good steward,
Mhm.
which is really it's like, that's how we're going to shift culture, is the more people
Yeah,
learn these
totally.
skills. This is the way we can have these micro lessons at the moments when we can't tell when everything needs help, but we can tell when certain things will need certain types of help. And so we should be there right there and be like, here's how you do it right now, and here's how you learn the deeper wisdom of how to guide a group.
Mhm.
Then we'll have an army of stewards in
Yeah.
just a year or two.
Tibet, you said appear in the sidebar. What sidebar are you talking about?
We don't have a sidebar.
We don't have a sidebar.
We don't have a sidebar.
I mean, there's certainly a sidebar on the left, the navigation bar,
The group nav.
Oh, the group nav.
but there could be a sidebar that appears at times when helpful.
Well, one thing we've talked about is definitely doing away with the right hand one, but also just in terms of like mobile as well. Yeah, but I agree that it doesn't have to only be tucked in the group settings. If you're a steward, probably this should appear somewhere on the UI for you directly, or be a pop-up again that shows up periodically. And again, it could just like show up for you the first 3 times you show up in the group that you're stewarding. And
Feel
then,
like this-
and then it just takes you to that panel in the admin.
I feel like Axel could be this character.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Finally resurrect the Axel line.
We make his voice sound like Guns N' Roses.
Or just like a Muppet,
Yeah.
as annoying as possible.
And then just a few other things in this section are that, of course, we will send an email to group stewards when they make a group that has a bunch of this stuff in it as well, and next steps. the docs, the CSAS course, etc. And then there's also just auditing the group settings, all of the panels, and just making sure everything is super clear. There's help text when it's needed. The buttons make sense.
Another thing that feels more like onboarding now is sort of like, how does this, the nav bar, the group nav evolve?
Mhm.
And because that's sort of how groups will be onboarded into the higher orders of complexity, right?
Mhm.
It's like in the spiral in our deck. And it makes me the kind of the question that I'm thinking is like, what are the like going through our settings, group settings,
Mhm.
and the custom views, and thinking through what are the signals to trigger the need for this setting? Like what, when we built this setting, what type of group was it for? And what's the threshold you have to cross to get to that, to be that type of group? And certain things are easy. Like if I make a proposal, we just give the option, or we show that there are now proposals.
Mhm.
That's easy. But yeah,
Mhm.
knowing when to create a new chat room or a subgroup or
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
things
there's
like
so many cool things we'll be able to do here.
yeah.
Well, I'm feeling like we're ready to get to work. The two things that we haven't really gotten to are discoverability, which I think is probably a shorter section, and then I think we need a dedicated session for notifications.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, for notifications, I feel like that's like auditing all the notifications, and yeah, it feels like more of a heads down thing.
There's a lot of things in notifications. It's not just auditing. We
Okay.
have most of them in here maybe already, but I do think a conversation about like what we want to go in our email digests
Yeah.
is a really important one, and how they should look and work. What else? What new notifications might we add that we don't currently have? Changing notification settings per chat room. I think it's definitely worth the conversation. Maybe we just need one more conversation and we can do notifications and discoverability.
That'd be great. Yeah.
I mean, not that
So-
we're going to stop talking, but like one more of these kind of
Yeah, I think so.
redesign.
Let's put something in the afternoon next week.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and then beyond that, then we'll have like processed everything, but there's still like prioritization, deciding like what we will do now and what we'll do later, what like we have the capacity to do now. Yeah,
Indeed.
indeed.
Wednesday afternoon.
What was that?
What about Wednesday afternoon?
That works for me.
Yes.
With you?
Sounds good.
So at like 3 or 4.
Let's do 3 to 4:30.
Well, so 3 is 8 a.m. for Tom, which seems doable for him, but,
That's totally doable.
yeah,
He's an early riser.
yeah,
He's an early bird. He gets those worms.
okay.
So he keeps the six pack. Okay. Is our fourth one or third one?
They're
Or
for-
fifth one or something.
Okay, I'll do a Zoom link for that.
I'm gonna be able to make the Zoom link here.
I'm gonna stop streaming.